Welcome. BBISHOPPCM.
Welcome to
BBISHOPPCM.
So, next step. Here we are. Time to do it. I want to do something about these control panels. They are hideous. The laminate or the formica is chipping off right there on the corners. They just look nasty. Both of them do. They both look really bad. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start a process. We're going to cover both control panels in marine vinyl with a padding below it. It'll be padded marine vinyl. That'll be nice. There will be aluminum trim that is going to go here around or on the sides here, and that is going to protect the seam. Because I don't have a sewing machine, I can't sew the sides and the front together, so that's what I came up with. It's going to be cool. Really cool. I could restore the machine with, the laminate or the, I almost said linoleum, with the formica covering, but I don't like it. I think it looks cheap. It looks crappy. I'm looking for, a nice, luxurious, appearance on my video trivia machine. Why? Because I can. Because I can. Not because I have to. Because I can. I'm going to make this machine beautiful. That's the idea. And we got to start by taking one of these control panels off. So, without further ado, I'm going to get my ratchet set and unbolt one of these control panels. I might do the bad one first, and then we're going to see how it comes out. So we've got the control panel disassembled, and let's get a better look at this laminate, or formica. It's actually formica. You can see that over here, someone had spray painted the wood where the formica had broken away, and you can see the results of that here, which we will clean off. Here's another thing I want to show you. This is what the cabinet looks like after it's been cleaned. This is what it looks like after it's been treated with silicone spray. I did that a couple of weeks ago, actually, and it's held up quite well. So I'm going to definitely do that behind the control panels as well. The silicone spray has also made the front part of the machine look pretty good. Actually, I'm very impressed. As for these nicks, I'm going to use a actually have a marker for that. It's designed to hide damage in furniture. So I'm going to do that here, 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 and here. The formica has broken away on the corner here, but somebody lovingly painted it. It looks okay. I can't fix it. I mean, I can't just buy this stuff, and well, I could, but I'm not going to. This is a pretty quality cabinet. I mean, it's impressive. They actually used plywood everywhere they could, except for the control panel surface itself, which is made of a composite wood to give it that curved appearance. But I think they did a fine job for mobsters. I mean, this is a pretty top-notch case, or housing, or whatever you want to call it. Before I took the switches apart, I made sure to write down the wire colors in each switch. Here are the light bulbs. Here are the switches. Here are, not switches, but the buttons themselves. And the switches are actually here. These are, I believe these are cherry switches. Yes, they are cherries. And they all work fine. But this is the entire wiring harness for that. And let's take a look at these wires here. We have a ground to the switch, and then we have one output. So this completes, this is just a simple open-close switch, and these two leads, one of them is light bulb ground and one of them is light bulb hot. And the orange light, the orange wires are all, these are actually 12 volt legs. They actually use the orange wire in this machine to indicate 12 volts. Red is 5, orange is 12. And then you've got the striped wires. These striped wires are actually what differentiate each light bulb on each control panel. Sorry, my stomach is growling. I did just eat though. So because each light bulb is individually addressed, they had to use a different wire color for every bulb. So let's get cracking. What I'm going to do first is cut out my vinyl and staple it in place for the front part of the control panel. Just launched my first 4 staples. These are great staples for upholstery work, and there should be more than enough room to fit that board back in place and screw it down. I'm going to trim the edges, of course, once I get it cut to length. Okay, so this is pretty much what we're going for. And I'm going to later on, I'm going to cut in holes for the controls and all that. But what we've got to do is pad the sides now. And it's the aluminum trim that's going to hide that seam. Just go right there. Should be enough clearance for it. So, right? yeah, there should be. Okay. So this is what the end looks like before I trim it. And that's what it looks like after. Looks like a mess, but wait till you see what I have in store. Thomas's English muffins are a wonderful breakfast. And my wallet is surprisingly empty right now. But that's not the point. Ah. Yes. That is what I was looking for. That, my friends, is what we wanted. Now I just need to cut the holes for the buttons, mount them in place. It even looks like it's from the 80s. So we've got this 1-inch aluminum trim. I'm thinking of actually buffing this with steel wool and WD-40 to kind of make it, beautiful. We've got nice vinyl with padding. I'm going to trim this down. And what I did with the edging is I deliberately made it longer, and then I used my hammer to peen it over on both sides and the back. Oh yes, she will be beautiful again. In this case, more beautiful than she ever was. Oh, I didn't show you the best part. This is what the sides look like. Now, I really hemmed and hawed over this one. Literally, I went, haw. And I wasn't sure how I wanted to merge the front with the sides. I really gave it some thought. I even thought about getting a sewing machine and just sewing it. But ultimately, I thought, it really deserves a little bit of character. I originally wanted brass, but I couldn't find brass strips this size locally. I didn't want to order them, so I just sort of wung it. Went to the hardware store, almost said grocery store. Went to the hardware store, and I picked up this aluminum. Aluminum is cheap, it's easy to work with. Hey, it does the job. And it looks okay. And I didn't have to buy brass screws to go with it, so it's a win-win, right? Now we got to cut in the holes for the buttons. And we have buttons. Look at that. This one's broken. I have to replace this one. I don't know where I'm going to find this, but the others are all good to go. Look at that. Done and done. So now I've got to buy more aluminum strips, and I'll do the other one. Probably do it next week. I don't know. I'm not in any rush. I'm just going to put this back together, mount it, and get it back on the machine. So there we go. And control panel number 2 is now equipped with aluminum strapping. And next I got to poke in all the holes for the buttons. Okay, the wiring in control panel number 2 is done. I do need to go back in here and replace a couple of bulbs that are burned out. They're general automotive bulbs. I think they're GE 190s. There's the cover. I got to put that back on now. You see what the finished product should look like? Just like that. That's what we're going for. Nothing fancy. And we are done, my friend. Look at that. Beautiful. Actually, this one came out a little better. It was my second one, so I did a little better. Had better results on this one. And number 4, the actual switch assembly was cracked in half. This ring had separated from the threaded rod, or threaded portion. So I brought it to work, and I put it under a clamp with 2-ton epoxy. Sealed it up. This is just a general arcade type switch assembly, or each one of these. Hap actually sells them. They're really cheap, but these are a bit different. They're customized slightly, and I didn't want to have to buy all new switches to make them match. I couldn't find them with the exact type of ring as this one does, so I had to kind of settle for what I had and fix what I could. I'm going to replace these carriage bolts, or better yet, I might just bring them to my dad's place, my parents' house, and take a wire wheel to the bolt heads and repaint them black. I'm actually going to do that to a couple of other bolts as well, carriage bolts that are exposed. And so that's what it looks like from the inside. As you see, I deliberately cut these back, just as I had to do over here. I didn't actually do these correctly, but... Oh, I just realized it did 4 screws here. Ah, hell. Whatever. I might just redo these straps, because I like the way these came out better. I might just copy these and redo those. It wouldn't take much, really. I have enough stock here to do it. It's more than enough to make that a reality. So I just might do that. It wouldn't take much, really. I wouldn't even have to take the control panels off. I could do it with them mounted. So that's even better. So yeah, there we go. All done. That's pretty much all I had in mind for the restoration project. That pretty much completes it. The next thing I want to do is, of course, get a lock set for it. I want to recap the display. And, there we go. Bada boom, bada bing. That's all we have for now, guys. Hey, you know what? You can only see 3 screws. So I guess that's okay. Yeah, I mean, what the hell? I'll leave it alone. You can only see the first 3 anyway. Alright. Good night, guys. Well, I went ahead and replaced the 2 aluminum bands on player 1 to match the screw pattern on console number 2. That also addressed a couple of other issues. I noticed that the aluminum that I used before it just had an ugly scored pattern on it. So from the machine it was rolled on. So this is a little better looking, I think. Than what I had. Anything's better than what it had originally. I mean, that was just nasty. It just looked bad. Really bad. So anything's better than that. But I also used some organic, environmentally safe paint remover. I don't have the bottle in here. But I used it to remove some overspray from when they had originally painted the control panel, like in the field when it, you know, was getting ugly. So they left some overspray on the cabinet. I got that off. That came out nice. Really, really, really happy with this. This I can live with. Totally. Yep. Let's get that side profile. Yeah. Nice. Nice, nice, nice.